Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. I wanted to start off with the official announcement about our lighting challenge. I would call it monthly, but we're going to go a little bit further on this one. So this is another collaboration with the Griffin Academy. Full disclosure on this, there is some still stuff in progress, so we are going to currently call the deadline November 30th. We're looking at delivering some more materials and fur, because this is actually a lion, not a tiger, as I misnamed it initially because I didn't know. So this is the fur and materials going on right now. Once we get kind of all that in place, we'll get that uploaded onto the lion, and then we'll hopefully have that all now. I wanted to make it available in case anyone wanted to download, maybe start texturing the set, maybe start playing around with how they're going to do the lighting. With the idea that there'll be these additions as well. They're trying to get effects elements in there as well. We'll see how well that gets in. But depending on the delivery of the other stuff, we might adjust the deadline. But for now, it's going to stick with the end of November. What was the other thing? And I think that was it with this. Yeah. Oh, it's currently, for anyone who's a lighting for animation student, just go to your normal asset page. You'll be able to download it from there. Or if you have the legacy asset library lifetime access. Anyone else who would like to participate, we have it on discount until it's fully uploaded, until it's fully completed. So it's on our marketplace as well. Okay, enough.
I just have one question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
shoot.
What kind of effects elements are they thinking? Just
paw,
like rain?
like, no, like paw. I think it's like paw stuff. I think like when like there's like some scratches that could go on there. Like when the bottom feet are scratching, like just debris falling off and that kind of thing.
So nothing indicating time of day or weather?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
If there are, I'll ask that they'll at least be separate elements that can be removed.
Sure.
Got it. But yeah, I think they mentioned the other stuff, but sometimes the effects artist gets in there and it's like, maybe it's running from an explosion, and you never know. So we'll see what the deal is. Like, there's a flood water coming, and it's a whole different thing. That has happened. I was like, oh, it's just like in a film, you're just like, oh, this is just a tiger climbing a tree. And it's like, that is not, it's a lion, A, and B, there is a Noah's Ark level flood coming. So, all right, let's start with Aaron. Aaron, we have your, first, we'll call this your first Unreal project with, you did the Japanese city street, but I think that this is like your first big one.
Yeah, this is kind of my first big one dealing with the renders. Obviously, in motion, especially in here, I'm seeing there's specular issues that are happening, and there's some ambient occlusion issues. That's gonna be fun.
That's funny. What is that? It's like a clipping plane thing.
So I don't know. The way that the ambient occlusion works is that it's a post process.
Yeah.
What my assumption is that as the camera gets closer, that would change what the ambient occlusion, that would just change the relationship of what's happening. So now I have to figure out okay, that's not good.
Yeah.
So now I got to figure out how to bake ambient occlusion into my scene, which I'm sure it's possible. So I just got to figure out how to do it.
This is just a good learning lesson. Anytime you see something move, where'd it go? Anytime you see something move like this, it feels like that's always a camera-based thing, or
right.
So, yeah, that makes sense of breaking that out. It's interesting. I mean, overall, it looks nice, right? I think there could have been a lot more to go wrong going from stills to the full animation. Although you've been seeing it, right? You've been seeing it in real time and just not actually rendered. Because that's how you work. But it's a cool basis. I'm just going to say things now, and you can tell me how feasible they are in Unreal.
Okay.
And I think we've talked about this before, but one thing, especially this shot, is it feels like all the fire is dancing in unison. I don't know if there's a way to adjust that timing.
I'll look into it.
Yeah. And then for this shot, it's like there's a lot of activity on the statue and not a lot around it in terms of the fireplace flickering.
Okay.
I'd like to see a little bit I'd like to just see more. I think having it is good. So if you're gonna go in any direction, it's have more of it, because it's it really does tell the story of what's going on.
So that you want to see that interactive flash behind the character.
Correct.
Right? Is that what you're
saying?
Okay.
some of this, like I was looking right here, some of that is a lot. Like that is that almost feels like a flashing light as opposed, because I guess the bottom point of it would never go like off. It would be much high. It would like the lowest intensity would be like half intensity. So
You're talking in the reflections?
I'm talking in the reflections, yeah.
So there's a couple buttons I can push that change how Unreal interacts with reflections.
Yeah.
I can try those buttons. It will drastically change the reflections, but it might be a better change. Like,
yeah. It just doesn't it feels like it's not reflecting the fire as much as like another off camera, like I said, like a flashing like train light or something.
Okay.
I love the specularity and everything, and this shot, like here and here, it feels a little like it starts to feel wet, which isn't bad. Like it was just like there's a couple points where I'm like, this is it feels more specular reflective. Yeah.
One of the buttons makes it feel less wet, so
Okay.
I might render with that instead, because
Sure.
I didn't dislike it. I didn't necessarily like this better. I just was like, oh, that's just different.
Right,
Like, okay.
right. Yeah, I was the same way. Like, you know, because it could genuinely be like in these like cavernous things, weird things happen. Like there could be an underground water source that's contributing to like genuine condensation to this room. Like if you've ever been in like a wet cave, like there's drippings on a wall that make no sense. Like it's not raining in there. It's just like it's just wet in there. So like I'm not 100% again anti it. I was just it was just more than I was anticipating. And then the other thing too is this fire feels more yellow, where these feel more yellow red. I like the orange red. I like the orange red color. If you can kind of shift that one more in that pattern as well. Did you try doing like a transition down the hall, like a fly through, like a good
No,
fella
because
scene?
the middle room's not done. I think
right.
some
I forgot
point
there's another
I'm
room
going to have to run a camera straight through. That's kind of the MO.
Yeah.
So I will eventually have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
This week and next week will probably be about that middle room. I'm working a bunch of OT right now, so it's hard. This shot, didn't love how bright the pillars were.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the player is actually ever supposed to see outside of this, so I'm just wondering, just from a presentation standpoint, does it make sense just to put this camera track inside the room and just show off this statue?
Yeah, because what ends up happening, yes, I mean you're seeing it. It's just like it's a little bright right in the face and kind of occluding all the subtlety and beautiful work that you've done.
Well, and I'm even thinking of time. It's like for, let's say those beams cross over for a solid 3 seconds throughout the entire shot. There's 3 seconds on my demo that is wasted.
Right. That is allowing somebody to go, are these two blown out? So yeah. The other thing I was going to say too is that these I guess they're column. I don't know the term for them. Column heads. All of them are getting really, really dark ambient occlusion stuff in there, like more so than kind of anything else. If you could back that off a little bit, I don't know if that's possible.
I'll see what I can do. Yep.
And then, and again, with I know the fire is a pre-baked thing, but if we could if it's possible to just get the saturation down a little bit on them, I don't know. On the outside, not so much on the inside. On the inside, it's great.
I'll take a look.
And then, and same thing with the dark values, like on these guys as well. It's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay.
Statue looks good though. That looks good. Outside looks great.
My concern at this point is like I'm showing this one level.
Yeah.
And this is 2 out of 3 rooms. Like I don't want this to be another, because the chameleon is already fairly long. I'm trying to figure out how not to make this just as long, because then my demo starts running into about a minute and a half. I have a really tight 59 seconds right now.
Yeah.
I could probably get rid of the octopus. I think the octopus might be my weakest.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about that stuff later. But I think I might be getting to a point, if I do another project after this, I think I have to have 2 reels. And I think I have a traditional lighting and rendering and a real-time lighting and rendering reel.
Yep.
And I just let the recruiters sort that out.
Well, you pre-sort that one out too. Of like, do you guys use real time or do you guys use?
Yes and no.
Go ahead.
Like the last game person I talked to, he like really liked my work. He's like, you would actually be great in our cinematics. Like he's like, I know you could do our cinematics. based on what I'm seeing here, he's like, "Oh, you don't have anything showing level, so maybe I just have to have a separate gaming reel that shows."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's about like the same thing. If you're doing integration stuff, you have a separate lighting for integration reel that you send to VFX houses, versus a lighting for animation stuff that you send to animation. Like, and of course there are companies that do both, but you kind of get the feel for it, and then like you really do. I think it's a bad mindset to think I have a demo reel. Like I have one demo reel. It's like you have, like I have like 3 or 4 different just resumes that I've written. That when I was looking for a job, I was like, this is one if I just strictly want to be an artist. This is one if I'm applying for a creative leadership position. This is one if I'm applying for something totally outside of CG and I just want to like try something new. This highlights some of my other skill sets. Like it's the same information. It's just like highlighting some things and de-emphasizing others.
Yeah.
So same thing with this. And I think on any, like on any reel, good work is good work. So it's like, but I do really think that like a company, I think it's okay to, if you have like, let's say your chameleon piece is really beautiful, and I think that should go on pretty much anything you do. But you just need to, if you're applying to a real-time company, that's demonstrating your eye and your ability to create a good image. But you also need to showcase your proficiency in the technology they need you to use. So you just like you can shuffle those together. But this is
Yeah, I think I might be like another month or 2 away from needing to split my demos, but
yeah, but I think you're doing really great, and I think you're getting closer. All right, let's hop in here. So we will.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. I forgot to pop this out. Boom. Boom. Sorry, I make little noises when I do things on my computer. Okay, cool. So we have cat, and then so we'll do cat, and then we'll go through alphabetically. Okay, cat. Cool. All right. Ha. So, first thought I had with this, there's 2 thoughts that I had. Number 1 was that no, it's good. This is good. I always say this when you look at something and you're like, okay, I have thoughts. That's great, because you're like it's the ones that I remember. It's the ones you look at and you're like, I don't know. Like this is like I remember I was in a review one time, and my supervisor just and I'm gonna demonstrate with this, but he did it with a laser pointer, where he was like, he just kind of started going like this with the laser pointer. He was like, so, and he wasn't saying anything. He just kept going like this again and again and again on this new artist shot, and he was like, so, what are we gonna do? And he just kept going round and around and around, and I was like, and it was a poorly lit shot that wasn't, and I know the supervisor well. We'd worked together for years. It was like he's trying to figure out where even to begin. Well, because normally he was like, you put stuff up there, and he's like, okay, do this. So that's not typical. So my 2 thoughts out of the gate, and they're basically the same thought. Because I went in and I looked at this by dropping in. I did the old trick of just adding a black, just like dropping black over top and changing the layer methodology to color, just to kind of look at the luminosity of this. And I was like, okay, you kind of squint your eyes, you do this, you're like, all right, cool. We've got bright areas up in here, and then we've got little areas in here and little areas in here. But overall, like, there's not enough pushing us to the middle, right? We need, like, there's a lot of like mid-tones out here and out here. So my thought was, I think we need to do this. So my thought was like, we need to push darker on the edges. So pretty much anywhere outside, smaller, outside of like this, just inverting it, and then making a new layer. Keep it black just for now, just for visualization purposes. This, then we will blur this up. Say 200, too much. And then just clear out a little more here in the middle around him. and then we'll tone this down just to get a little bit more vignetting. And actually, what I would actually do in a situation like this is then take this, do another one, and basically do the same thing, but like darken the edges even more.
Okay.
Just to get like some fall off towards the edge. That's really allowing it to like a lot of those edges to go dark.
Okay.
And then
that's easy. I can
yeah,
do that
and
in
then
post.
yeah, and then we could go like so now it's like really focusing us in, and then in the center we can. Okay, hold on just a sec, guys. Hold on, sorry. Okay. Hey guys, so I'm gonna record the rest of this later. My kids need me right now, and so I will hop off for the time being, and I will get this posted soon though.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Talk to you guys soon. All right. Sorry,
Talk to you
guys.
later.
Bye.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye. So sorry about that, everybody. My kids are sick, and there was a bit of an emergency. So picking up where I was just at. So I was mentioning, we've got the vignettes going in. That's great. Now the other thing is we need to increase the lighting here in the middle. So basically, I just want to like brighten up the rest of it, and not quite to that level, but like just more punch in the middle of the screen. And then whenever I do that, it just creates a little more saturation. So we just tone that down. And now, really, because really what it is we need to punch up the middle and punch down the edges, right? And really get us back there. So some of that is done through like these two-dimensional things that I'm doing. But a lot of it's going to be like, increasing some of the light in here. It's nice because now once we get into that, we can start to see about. It's going to be kind of tricky. It's a tough balance, right? Because we want to kind of brighten up this pathway a little bit to lead us back, but not have that be so bright that it's distracting from the main character. So it's just like a matter of brightening, like just getting. You basically want to reduce an image like this down so that it's getting brighter and more contrasty as we get to the subject matter, as we go in from these sides and we get more and more towards the center of this. So like darker, goes darker to light, less contrast to more contrast, possibly less saturation to more saturation. Just like really just kind of building everything up as we build towards the middle and just pushing everything there. Because like the scene does have a symmetric balance. It's centrally located. We just want to use all of our little tricks to just zero everything in. Excuse me. Okay, so those are my main points with Kat to really get us centered back there. And again, we'll take a look at the before and after on this. So a little before and after. Okay, without all the brushes. Okay, so next up we have Kaya. So Kaya, I think this is a really good start. I think you've got some really good, what we call dappling, which is just like, you're really feeling the trees around it. We've got a good focal point for the audience. I love the distance what you got going on back there, the atmospherics, the kind of like depth of field feels right. All that stuff feels good. The two main elements that I'd really like for you to work on is, number one, this doesn't feel sunny enough. The sunlight hits don't feel sun. If it doesn't feel bright enough, doesn't feel like it has enough energy. It also doesn't quite feel warm enough for it to be daylight. And then also the darks also feel a little bit. Some of the dark values feel like they could be punched up. Overall, I just think the contrast can be more. So let's go ahead and take this up. And so what I think that you could do is let's start overall. So overall, I think the brights can go a little bit brighter. And you see how like these darks just kind of dropped off here? I think we can push those darks just a touch. And then we can really just kind of push up that contrast a little bit. Additionally, what we can do is... we can take this, and I want to just push the sunnier parts just a little, like a touch warmer. Do you feel that? So it's not as much like that coolness in the air. There's just like a little bit of warmth to it. And with this, I'm just going to take this down out of some of these areas so that they can kind of, not there. So we can kind of maintain some of that cool within the cool, so it's not just like universally turning everything warmer. So kind of do that, something like that, just to be rough about it. And then what I think is that we can take this central area, kind of our main, this will work. Let's see if I can grab it and just do this. Yeah, and then we could take our main object and really kind of hit it with a little bit of extra, a little bit of, like, just basically goose it just a little bit more, so that our audience really gets in on that area. So it's just a matter of, like, that could even be an extra spotlight that's like really kind of zeroed in on our main thing with a soft edge so you don't feel the fall off around it. But we want to make our object in the center here one step brighter than everything else, so that again, this is luminosity. It's a similar thing that we're talking about with cats. We want to zero in our focus on that main object. And again, the way we can test that is by dropping in a black element, layering it as a color, and then you can see like there's a lot more dynamic range now versus where we started, which was just like a little bit flatter. So it's just like punching it up, getting those darks in there, and then like really kind of getting the contrast there in the middle. I love this kind of natural vignette that you're getting around the edges. I think like this is really nice, and like these kind of like this foreground out of focus plant is nice, and you're getting your framing is really nice. It's just a matter of kind of dialing in the warmth and the luminosity to really kind of narrow us in. All right, next up we have Raul working with our animation from Fabian Martinez. So this is a good start. I think the biggest things we need to work on here are, well, first off, I just want to make sure that we're finding some reference images that can really guide us into what the type of lighting that we're trying to create. So I pulled in Diana's because she did the same animation and did a really, really fantastic job with it. So with hers, like you really feel like there's a time of day. You really feel like the sun shining down. We've got the dapple of the leaves kind of hitting behind the characters to keep our focus on them. And I didn't even realize you could play video in Photoshop, but here we are.
So you're comfortable enough, right?
It's perfect. Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah. So just like lovely like strong sunlight coming in from the side, creating shaping on the characters. Like, look at her face here. Like, look how there's bright here. It slowly falls off, and then we get these contours. We're kind of losing that contour here. It kind of flattens out a little bit. Also, one of the things that's really nice is the distinguishing characteristics of like added material around the lips, eyes, and just to kind of break up the character a little bit more. Having their lip skin be the same as everything else always makes them feel a little bit off. So let's just go ahead and add some eye work, some lip work in there in the material. I think that really, really, really helps. There's also kind of a haze coming in up here that I don't know the source of it, because during the daytime you don't really get that too much, and this does definitely feel like a kind of a brighter mid-afternoon daylight. You usually see that like mornings, evenings, just after rain, something like that. So like some sort of because it's moisture in the air, right? Also, like there's no real contact shadow between these bricks and this wall. Like these bricks are just different, but like if the sun's kind of coming in this way and causing them to be hit like this, you'd expect some kind of shadowing to be back there as well. So for you, the main things are, this is what I would do for the next steps. I would take off that haze. I would find some reference so we have some really good communication of what our goal is, what our ideal is. And then I would really focus in on getting a key light that matches the idea of the key light of the reference, and making sure that you're not doing any sort of light linking or anything that would cause the shadows to break. Because once those start to break, there's nothing really you can do to fix the image, right? Like if we're missing that stuff, there's something that you look at and you're like, this doesn't quite feel right. And then from there, I think it's a matter of, if you have the desire to, it really, really helps to push the look of the skin of the shaders on the characters to get their lips, get their eyes to kind of stand out a little bit more. And same thing with the shirt on this guy, making it this knit material. You can really start to see the stretches around the arms. I would keep it more of a solid tone, or something that doesn't quite accentuate that quite as much. and I think that would help out. All right, cool. All right, well, that is all for today, everybody. Again, sorry for the delay in the break for anyone that was live. The love of working from home with like 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. All right, I will talk to you guys very soon. Happy lighting, everybody.